Hello, you wonderful world! Way of Time here, bringing to you another super project that I was working on. Today, I'm going to be exhibiting a new device that you probably saw I was creating. Over here, you see my original Mobile Quarry design. It's nice and all, it gets the job done, but there are a few issues with it. One, it consumes a lot of power, and there are power issues with keeping everything powered. And two, it's freaking big. So, what I wanted to do was get it a little smaller and more compact than that. And I think I managed to do that. Behold, my Mobile Quarry Mach 2. It is a much smaller footprint than that, getting a 5 by 5 by 9 design, and boasting enough power to get a pretty decent sized pit going. But best of all, I've added quite a few more features onto this. I'll go over some of the main features of this and how it works. What I did was I took the standard 4-way airship design, the dirigible, which you can see somewhat here, and put a bunch of colored wires and bundled cables around it. I then added up and downwards motions, as well as a block breaker head onto it, and a control unit here, so you can easily run the system. And I'll get to this toggle latch in a bit, though that you'll want to see what it's actually doing. Also, I have, instead of a big chest room, I have one single alchemical chest with a gem of eternal density in it, so when I throw stuff in, when it collects the stuff, it will go in here and densify, which can be pulled out using this filter, and it'll only select these items. Items that cannot be condensed, and items in their condensed form. These are then pulled out using a timer and another toggle latch using a red tube in here. Well, enough of all of those features and stuff. Let's get to some of the coding stuff. I won't actually show you the code for this episode because, frankly, rewriting it too many times, it really sucks. Okay, there are a few commands that you are going to want to know before you start the system. You're going to want to know raise to and go to. Also calibrate. So what you do is you press Shift F3 and you get your 3 main coordinates. What you want to do is type all of those out, correctly I might add, and then type calibrate. This will calibrate the system to your coordinates that you have right now. Then, let's say you want a cruising height of 80, you just do 80, raise 2. And, once it decodes it, it will raise your quarry to 80. Because of delays, it has to go a bit slower to make sure the batteries in these motors stay fully charged. Now that we're at 80, let's go to a different location. We want to go to an area to start our quarry, and I already have one selected. We'll do 394, -504. These are the X and Z coordinates, respectively. And go to. This will tell the system to go to those coordinates. Now, if you want to ride this, you're going to have to climb up into these solar cells. Although you can add a cover somewhere for you to stand on, since it'll pretty much act in the exact same way. And we'll slowly move to our location. First, it'll tackle the Z direction, And then when that's finally finished, when it gets over here, I think, actually over here, it will go in the X direction. There. Now, if the system ever gets out of sync in the fact that it's not in the right position, all you have to do is recalibrate it, then do the movement again. It's not too much of a headache, and it can be rectified by delaying it, but if you delay it too much, it becomes a very slow quarry. Now, let's go onto the ground, see what height we're on, and add 2 to it. So go to 74. Height. All of these positions are a reference of this spot, though you can choose any reference you want. You could even choose the reference of the middle part of the quarry at the bottom, though that is a bit harder to do. Okay, now that we're in position and all of the motors are nice and retracted, we can actually start with the actual quarry part. You'll want to get your dimensions and actually scope out where you are to see the dimensions. I see that this place would be good for a nice size 20 by 20 area. So let's put 20 by 20 and go to a depth of 20. The first 20 is the one along the X direction because it's the main movement. It'll go this way to 20. And the second 20 will be in the Z direction. It'll go that to a maximum of 20. And the third 20 is the height. So it'll only dig 20 layers if everything is set correctly. Once that's done, type dimensions. And assuming I have the right word, it will decode everything and say, hey, these are the dimensions I want. All you have to do now is start the system. So, just type start. Start. Oh, something's wrong. It's not starting. That could be a problem. Oh yeah, I need to flick this. Safety first, guys. As you can see, pressing start will make it go and start. It'll first go in this direction, and then it'll go 1 unit over. Think of these 5 blocks as a single unit. And then it'll go more in this direction until it hits this part again. As you can see, there is quite a bit of sand falling, though that is because I chose to quarry in an area that is a bit of a cave system. As you can see, more sand falling. Oops. Though no matter, it doesn't really matter too much. As long as the quarry keeps on quarrying and we have enough battery power, it'll be good. Now, what if for any reason you feel like, hey, something's wrong with the quarry, I better stop it? You have to go over to here and flick the switch. It'll shut down the quarry entirely, so it will not move at all, and allow you to reuse the operating system. Now, if you stopped it, there's only one thing to do to restart it. You have to go back and reset it and type start again, and it'll go, no, that's just too difficult. All you have to do is type resume, and it'll resume the system. But since the safety is still activated, you have to unactivate it and then type resume. And it'll restart in the exact same place. And if you look closely, when it's done this, it'll go down instead of going any further. Now, it'll go and start sweeping this direction in the same amount of area. Simple, isn't it? Not really simple. Took like a couple hours to code that in, but it is what it is. Now that we have everything working, why don't we simply watch it a bit as it digs a big hole. Okay, it looks like it's starting to become sunset, so we'll turn it off when it starts going downwards. So now it will be good at this point, and all we'll need to do is resume it for the rest of this stuff. Looking at the haul that we have, if I can get into the compartment, please, thank you. Looking at the haul, we got enough EMC for 2 gold ingots and 2 iron. Up! Up! Why am I always in this situation? Get away! Not too shabby, really. Also, it records the position that it is at that moment. So, if you really want to, you can have it spit out those coordinates and it will go to those coordinates after it's done wherever it's going. So if you stopped it right here, you can move it somewhere else, then type in the stuff to get the coordinates out again. As you can see, let's see. As you can see, it says that it's at negative 531x, 53y, and what z? Negative 484z. Now if we check, the y direction seems to be off. Actually, all of the directions seem to be off. So I'm going to have to probably recalibrate it unless all of it's just off. Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a mess up when it is getting it. Actually, in fact, I forgot to record in it to be able to record, but all you'd need to do is change your resume command so that when it is done, so at the end of all of the begin, while, repeats, untils, blah blah blah, you can simply tell it to, okay, get the current x at pre-x exclamation mark, and I'll record where it was previously. But that's not too much of an effort. Just make sure that when you're ready to go again, to resume it quite easily. Well, that's all for this super project episode. If you like what you see, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Maybe favorite this video, though I'm not going to pressure you into anything, right? Nah, I won't. Just think of yourself as a skeleton. Wave Time, signing off. Have a wonderful day.